we are talking about dimorphic stem. That is stem, they having the two different types of the stem. We are talking about the dimorphic stem. Now when we are talking about the dimorphic stem, first of all we are talking about the two types. Number one, stem is unbranched, branching is absent. That's why we are talking about unbranched. An example for the unbranched stem, simple example, that is cycas. Okay, cycas having the unbranched stem condition. While when we compare the second point, stem is branched, and such type of this branch stem present in case of pinus. So I think if you remember, we already discussed this point. Pinus basically plant who are having tendency who grow at the temperate zone. Means the environmental condition, these are the drastic cold environment. And when we are talking about the cycas, they having tendency, they can grow under the tropic region. What is meaning of the tropic? Quite warm environment, right? So quickly we are talking about what kind of the condition present in case of the unbranched and in case of the branched. So first of all, we are talking about the cycas. In case of the cycas, that is unbranched stem is present. Simple stem is present, very simple. So we are talking about there is a presence of this stem. Like second. So next point we are talking about there is a presence of the area. That area nothing but we are talking about that is stem area. So these are the simple structure of this stem, which is an unbranched stem. On this stem, cycas leaves are present. So on the top here there is a presence of the leaves, and we know where you know very well in case of the cycas basically there is a presence of the compound leaf, right? So these are the leaf of the cycas. So if you see stem, it's very simple, and such type of this stem those does not showing any branching, such type of this stem simply it is called as the unbranched stem. When you compare this point with pinus, and there is one another example also, that is cedrus. In case of the pinus as well as in case of the cedrus, branch stem is present. What is meaning of the branch stem? Branch stem nothing but we are talking about it is having the branches, different branches. For example, we are talking about upper branch and the next one lower branch. So there is a two different types of the branches are present, upper and the lower. When you talk about the upper branch basically they are short in size, short. Hmm? And the lower branch basically they are long in size. So we'll discuss this structure, how what is meaning of the branch structure, how they are formed, the two different types of the branches, long as well as the short. So when we are talking about in case of pinus, pinus having branch stem like structure, branching is present. Suppose cone shape. So I'll represent these are the cone, because I want to discuss what is the meaning of, just imagine the Christmas plant arrangement. If you see the Christmas plant, now what happened? Toward the lower side, long branches are present. But once that plant it is reached up to top, so ultimately length of that branches it quite decrease. So when we are talking about this one, these are the called as the lower branches. And just we discuss one point here, lower branches basically they are long in size, right? Long in size. And when we are talking about the upper one, suppose this one, these are the upper branches, right? And this upper branch basically short in size. So now what happened when you discuss such point of the structure, like in case of the pinus, even in case of the centrus also, upper branch short, lower branch long. Now what happened commonly when we discuss this point, basically it will be represent a cone like structure. Yes, it will be represent a cone like structure. Just imagine the Christmas plant इसी तरह से होता है ना, something cone like structure. Why? Because on the top, whatever the branches are present, they are comparatively short, right? And the lower side, whatever the branches are present, that branches basically they are long in length. So due to now what happened, due to their variation, upper and the lower, they form a cone like structure. And such type of the cone like structure, simply these are called as excurrent type of the stem. Such type of this arrangement, these are called as the excurrent type of stem. Please underline this word. It's very important in case of the pinus, because whenever we are talking about the pinus they are look like a cone shape. Such type of this cone shape arrangement, cone shape, because lower one long, upper one short, they gives rise to cone like appearance, right? So that cone shape of that stem, nothing but called as the excurrent type of stem. Got it? Sorry. Done? Aisha, Bhakti, Chirag, Eva, Tambra. Done? Excurrent type. Okay? So similarly, when we are talking about in case of the unbranched, that is in case of the cycas. So in case of cycas, what happened? Simple one stem is present, no branching, right? Unbranched cycas. So such kind of this stem, such kind of this arrangement, these are called as cadex type of this stem. This type of this arrangement, these are called as the cadex type of stem. So quickly we are talking about two names. In case of the pinus, excurrent stem. In case of the cycas, cadex stem. And what is meaning of the cadex stem? Where unbranched stem is present. There is no branching with respect to stem. Such type of the structure, simply these are called as the cadex. Cadex के ऊपर question नहीं पड़ेगा in need. But there is one will be question on the excurrent habit, because excurrent habit or excurrent type of the stem, it is present specifically in case of pinus. So you have to remember excurrent, cone shape. Christmas ka plant remember karo, right? Lower, upper, different type of the shape. So that's why it is form a cone shape. Simple example. ठीक है. Chalo. Writing part done. Should I continue next one? I think these are the number 6 point, if I'm not wrong, because dimorphic stain, these are the number 6, because leaf, these are the 5th one, so now it is the 6th one. Unbranched as well as the branch. Chalo Darwin, continue kare next point. Number 7, muscular tissue. Next point, next common characteristic. Okay, chalo. Yeah. So next point we are talking about number 7. Write down number. We are talking about the number 7, that is vascular tissue. You know very well, whenever we are talking about the vascular tissue, it means that we are talking about xylem and the phloem. Yes, because there is a vascular tissue who is responsible for the water and the food conduction. So whenever we are talking about the vascular tissue, that vascular tissue is divided into two types. Number 1, that is xylem, first one, and this xylem we compare with the phloem. Xylem responsible for the water conduction, phloem responsible for the food conduction, right? So now we are talking about some cells which is associated with the gymnospermic plant. Chalo. So we discuss further types of xylem and its types of the phloem. In anatomy chapter we discussed in detail, but right now here we are talking about xylem. It is a single, it is a one cell, and under the xylem different types of the cell who work together, and together when they work together they follow one function, that is water conduction. Similarly phloem, under the phloem different types of the cell all those cells, they work together and they get involved during the food conduction. अकेला xylem, अकेला phloem water and food को conduction नहीं करेगा. There is a group of the cell which is associated with the xylem and the phloem. So we are talking about some cell which is a part of the xylem. So whenever we are talking about the xylem, or what you can say, that is types of the xylem can is such a under the xylem it is divided into different cell, right? So under the xylem we have to discuss about the one cell, that is tracheids. One cell we are talking about, that is tracheids. Another cell, that is xylem fiber. Tracheids and the xylem fiber, both they are dead cell. Both they are dead cell. Tracheids also as well as the xylem fiber also. Just imagine one thing. Whatever we are writing the name here, xylem tracheids or the xylem fiber, these are the one cell who help for the water conduction. बस इतना समझ लो अभी. Something the cells are there and they help for the water conduction. Okay, because it is a come under the xylem. क्या है, कैसा है, कैसे करेगा, what is the structure, all those part we discuss in anatomy chapter. But right now just remember one thing, xylem present होगा. Under the xylem we are talking about there is a presence of the tracheids, right? Second cell there is a presence of the xylem fiber, and the third one we are talking about, that is xylem parenchyma. Xylem parenchyma. So that these are the three cells, okay? These are the three cells which is specifically present in case of the gymnospermic plant. It is present in case of the gymnosperm. Tracheids, xylem fiber, and the xylem parenchyma. So these are the cell which is present in case of the gymnospermic plant. But we are talking about next cell, that is vessel. Vessels, so that of the dead cell, such type of this vessel is totally absent. Mostly, okay, it is totally absent. Mostly it is absent. Not all. We took one exception case, but when we are talking about, I'm repeating this point again because I think if you are from CBSE you know very well what I'm talking, that is xylem fiber, tracheids and the vessel, because it's a part of your syllabus. From the lower classes you already study this part, but again I'm repeating this point. Xylem present होगा. Xylem main function water conduction. Under this xylem we have to discuss total 4 cells. Angiosperm हम आगे देखेंगे. Under the angiosperm we have to discuss total 4 cells: tracheids, xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma and the vessels. So all those cells, those are associated with the angiospermic plant because these 4 cells, they work together and they're responsible for the water conduction. Here we are talking about what condition present in case of the gymnosperm. So in case of the gymnosperm, most of the gymnosperm, tracheids, xylem fiber and the xylem parenchyma, those cells are present. But these vessels, it is absent. But you know that we are talking about the botany, biology, and biology without exception to kuch hoga nahi, right? So that's why we are talking about some exception case. Write down. So we are talking about some exception case. Exception case in gymnosperm where vessels are present. And exception case, we are talking about 3 examples. Number 1, netum, to pronounce as a neton. Another one, ephedra. Second example, ephedra. And third, well, vishya. Okay. So we are taking the 3 examples. Number 1, netum. Number 2, ephedra. And the number 3, that is welwitschia. I think screen is loading. I wait for a few seconds. Yeah, now it's loading properly. Okay, Bhakti, got it better. Now sound is clear. Yeah, okay. Okay. Chalo. So now we are talking about, these are the three examples which is come under the Nita and the Welwitschia. Okay. So now what happened? What we are talking about? We are talking about in case of the C, whatever we are talking about the four cells, this four cells collectively they work together and they perform a water conduction. But here we are talking about one exception case where in case of the most of gymnosperm vessels are absent. But here what we are talking about? We are talking about one condition, that is in case of exception case in gymnosperm, not all, okay, in few gymnosperm. In few gymnosperm, three examples which is come under, that is Nitum, Ephedra and as well as the Welwitschia. These are the examples. ये genus है, okay? This Nitum also, these are the example of the genus. Ephedra, these are the also example of the genus. Welwitschia, these are the also example of the genus. Inside these three examples, basically vessels are present. These are the exception case, but we are talking about vessels are present. Okay? Nitum, Ephedra, as well as the Welwitschia. Got it? Yes. All these are the example of the genus. So question कैसे design होगा देखो, because already these are the three option. Might be possible they give the fourth one and they just ask which is the wrong, which is the incorrect from the following. So you have to remember these three example. Very easy. Okay? Nitum, Ephedra, Welwitschia. If you want to remember the initial, you can. So these are the three examples of the gymnospermic plant where vessels are present, which is a come under the exception point, because in case of the gymnospermic plant, vessels are absent. And what is the vessels? Vessels, it's a one pipeline. Suppose it's a one kind of the pipeline who provide water, who conduct the water, responsible for the conduction of the water. Done? Okay, Vedant. Chalo. Now we are talking about next part with respect to phloem. Should I continue? Writing ho gaya na? So it is a part which come under the xylem. Hmm? Okay, Bhakti. Now next point we are talking about, that is phloem. Now similarly, what is meaning of the phloem? Phloem, these are the tissue who responsible for the conduction of the food. Similarly, under the phloem, we have to discuss the different types of the cell. So in this point, we are talking about inside the phloem, there is a presence of the phloem parenchyma. There is a presence of the phloem parenchyma. You know very well, whenever we are talking about the parenchyma word, it means that these are the living tissue, these are the living cell. ठीक है? Parenchyma, हम आगे देखेंगे anatomy chapter में. Whenever we are using the word parenchyma, it means we are talking about the living tissue. So the first one, that is phloem parenchyma. Another one we are talking about, that is phloem fiber. So definitely whenever we are using the fiber word, means we are talking about the which cell? That is dead cell. So ये dead होगा. Parenchyma means definitely we are talking about these are the living cell. Similarly, if you want, you can write down here this parenchyma also, these are called as the living cell, one and only living cell in under the xylem. So phloem parenchyma living, phloem fiber dead. Now we are talking about next one, albuminous cell. Number third, we are talking about albuminous cell, and as well as we are talking about next one, that is Sieves cell. Again, both these are the living cells. Both. Hmm? So definitely, whenever we are talking about the phloem under the gymnospermic category, yes, there is a presence of the phloem parenchyma, phloem fiber also present, albuminous cell also present, as well as the Sieves cell also present. But here we are taking the two conditions. Number one, Sieves cell to present hoga because it is a single cell. But Sieves tube elements means what? Many cell. It's a multicellular cells. So Sieves tube elements, these cells it is absent. We will discuss this part in anatomy. What is the meaning? What is the difference between the sieve cell and the sieve tube? But just one remember one thing here. When we are talking about the gymnosperm, under the gymnosperm, sieve cell present, but sieve tube. Tube means what? Multicellular, a giant structure, multicellular structure of cell. So that cell, that structure, it is totally absent. And the another one, we are talking about a specific type of the cell, that is companion cells. So again, that companion cells, they are absent. Companion cells, so they are absent. All these cells, these are absent in case of the gymnospermy category. Got it? So क्या present होगा, इस पे question नहीं बनता. Always remember one thing, which condition is absent. According to that point of view, question will be arise. So you have to remember, because when you talk about the anatomy chapter, he फिर से हम point repeat करेंगे, because we have to discuss what water and the food conduction occurring in case of the gymnospermic plant, and that gymnosperm we have to compare with the angiosperm. Okay, chalo. So any doubt from this vascular tissue point? I know थोड़े से नाम आपको अलग लग रहे होंगे, but don't worry, when we start with the anatomy, definitely you will familiar with this name. It's very easy actually. No doubt. Okay. वेदांत, ठीक है. हम्म. हम्म. चलो, should I continue next part? Should I continue? These are the 7 number vascular tissue. Now I'm talking about the number 8, woody sporophyll. Sporophyll, we are talking about the sporophyll. Sporophyll means what? A leaf who consists of the sporangia. Chalo. Now number 8 point. Write down number 8. After the 7th, we are talking about the 8th one. That is woody sporophyll. I'm not repeating this part because you know very well, under the pteridophyta we already discussed about what is meaning of the sporophyll. Sporophyll means a leaf who consists of the sporangia, right? So I'm not taking this part right now. So when we are talking about, in case of the gymnospermic plant, there is a 2 different types of the sporophyll. Number 1 we are talking about, that is male sporophyll, and this point we compare with female sporophyll. Male as well as the female sporophyll, right? Because you know very well, basically we are talking about the sporophylls, means they can produce a spores, and in case of the gymnosperm, 2 different types of spores are present, male spore as well as the female spore. So quickly we discuss that part. So woody sporophyll means what? It is not a sporophyll, it is not a delicate part. Sporophyll, basically these are the woody part, it's quite hard part. So now what happened, whenever we are talking about the male sporophyll, also called as microsporophyll. Micro. Male sporophyll also called as microsporophyll. And when you compare this point with female, so female also called as mega. These are also called as megasporophyll. Okay. So microsporophyll, as well as we are talking about for the female, we are using the word mega, right? Micro specifically used for the to represent a male, mega specifically used to represent a female. आगे कुछ भी हो सकता है, sporophyll or gametophytic or microspore mother cell, but doesn't matter. But if you are using micro word, it means that we are talking about male, and mega we are talking about the female. Okay. Now what happened? Simple condition. Now, whatever we are talking about, the microsporophyll and the megasporophyll, they get aggregate. So first of all, we are talking about, that is microsporophyll, they get aggregated, and finally they form a male cone. Male cone, or these are also called as the pollen cone, or these are also called as the male strobilus. I hope you remember, in pteridophyta we already discussed what is the meaning of this strobilus. Strobilus means what? Group of sporophyll, right? ग्रुप ऑफ स्पोरोफिल, कॉम्पैक्ट स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ दिस स्पोरोफिल, तो हमने वहां पे भी डिस्कस किया था. In case of this, right, I hope you remember, we already discussed this point. In case of this horsetail, also called as equisetum, on the top we draw structure also. There is a presence of this strobilus structure. And what is the meaning of strobilus? Strobilus nothing but these are the compact condensed structure of sporophyll. So here we are talking about microsporophyll. They get aggregate, and after the aggregation they form a typical structure. That structure it is called as male strobilus, also called as the male cone, also called as the pollen cone. Similarly, when mega megasporophyll, again they get aggregate, and after the aggregation finally they form female cone, female cone, also called as the female strobilus. Okay, female cone and female cone, also called as the female strobilus. That's it. These are the next number 8 part, that is we are talking about woody sporophyll, microsporophyll and the megasporophyll. Chalo. Any doubt from the woody sporophyll number 8 point? Doubt us? Any doubt? No. Okay. Okay, Zara. Hmm. Okay, Aisha. Chalo. Now we are talking about the number 9 point. Number 9, we are talking about part of wood. And in anatomy chapter, we'll discuss this part. Wood also called as secondary xylem. Okay, wood also called as the secondary xylem. ये जो word हम इस तरह से use करते हैं ना, like this word we have to use for the secondary. But please make sure when you are writing a paper, theory paper, don't use primary like this. Primary is represent like this. Now these are the for secondary, these are the for tertiary, and these are for the quaternary. So please don't use this short form. That is a wrong method when you write down any subjective paper. अभी इस क्लास के लिए okay because we have to save time. But when you write a paper, subjective paper, that time you have to use word secondary. Okay? Don't use two not or 2 degree, not like that. So just use the word secondary xylem. So we discussed in anatomy chapter wood. When we say that is a wood formation is start, because once there is a formation of the secondary xylem, because whenever we are talking about the xylem part, maximum xylem they are the dead part, and that's why they are involved during the water conduction, and sometimes they provide the mechanical support also. So ये सब कुछ हम discuss करेंगे in anatomy chapter, not now. So just remember one thing, wood also called as the secondary xylem. Okay, now whenever we are talking about wood which is present in case of the gymnosperm, so that wood basically these are the non-porous wood, non-porous wood present in most of gymnosperm. Exception case को छोड़ दो. We are talking about most of gymnosperm. Non-porous wood is present. So now what is meaning of the non-porous wood? Non-porous wood nothing but we are talking about vessels are absent. Vessels are absent. Or in other language you can say that is pores are absent. So definitely if porous structure, porous, right? Porous means what? See, ये हम आगे देखेंगे. Whenever we are using the word tracheids and the vessels, these are the one kind of the pipeline. लंबा के पूरा पूरा ऐसे from root to up to top, पूरे के पूरे ऐसे लंबे के लंबे long elongated pipeline से. And now that pipelines it is having the small pores. They having the small hole. So through that pores, water can easily show in the movement. Right? So vessels basically they having the more pores, multiple pores, million trillion pores are present on vessel. So that's why what happened, vessel, these are the characteristic features, or what we say these are the most advanced pipeline, most advanced vessels who responsible for the water conduction. And when we are talking about the tracheids these are the primitive, पुराना है, एक ही छोटा सा होल है, धीरे 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 पानी अटक अटक के जा रहा है. But now what happened whenever we are talking about the vessel it having the multiple pores, so multiple ways are available. So within a few time we can conduct the water from root to up to top. That's why we are talking about these are the most advanced pipeline vessels. But we know that in case of the gymnospermic condition, most of the condition vessels are absent. Agar vessel absent means pores are absent. That's why whatever the wood is present, that wood simply it is called as the non-porous wood. Got it? Got it? थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ में आ रहा है because for this point wood point specifically you have to understand what is the meaning of the anatomy of plant. That time will clear cut you can understand. वेदांत ठीक है. ओके चिराग. ईवा समृद्धि ठीक है. जरा चलो. नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट टाइप्स ऑफ वुड. इसी पॉइंट को कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट इज टाइप्स ऑफ वुड. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट मेजरली टू टाइप्स ऑफ द वुड. ठीक है चल. सो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द टाइप्स ऑफ वुड. नंबर वन, फर्स्ट वन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट पिकनो. Piconocyclic wood. And the another one, number second, we are talking about mano. MANO, not mono. Okay, mano होना चाहिए. Manocyclic wood. Under the manocyclic wood, you have to remember one example, that is cycas. And in case of the picno, example is pinus. And if I'm talking about out of this picno and the mano, which wood is mostly used as a commercially purpose? So pycnocyclic, these are the good quality of the wood who used as a commercial. So it has commercial value. Why? Because you know very well, whenever we are talking about the wood it is used for the furniture preparation. Even it is used inside the sports bat preparation or whatever the wooden they are present. Furniture हो गया और different types of the some handmade handcraft. So whatever the part where we required a good quality of the wood में भी देखो कुछ water resistance होते हैं, कुछ water repellent होते हैं and waterproof भी होते हैं. So according to that cost of wood it is vary, right? So similarly talking in case of the pinus facility is example of the pycnocyclic wood. And pycnocyclic wood, these are the commercially having the good value. जितना भी furniture बनाना है या फिर something a material which is made up by the wood particles, so mostly that point of view we have to use the pinus. It's a good one. So now we are talking about what is meaning of the pycnocyclic wood which is present in case of the pinus. Simple meaning है, when we are talking about that is pycnocyclic wood, it means that is strong and the hard tissue. Strong and the hard tissue, they are present in more amount. They are present in more amount. And when you compare this part with this soft tissue, basically they are present in less amount. So normally यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Strong and the hard tissue they present more, and the soft tissue they present in less amount. That's why what happens, such quality of the wood, it is a good quality because strong hard tissue they present in high amount. So that's why it's a good quality. Exactly reverse condition in case of the manocyclic condition में क्या होगा? Whenever we are talking about the strong and the hard tissue, the concentration it is less as compared to soft tissue. So इसका concentration होगा less, and the soft tissue they are present in more amount. That's why we are talking about manocyclic wood. It is not good quality of the wood. Okay, got it? We are talking about wood particle. Definitely we don't want the soft. अगर जितना ज़्यादा soft होगा उतना ज़्यादा water को absorb करेगा. And that wood it is whatever the furniture, that furniture it is get damaged early. So we know that whenever we are purchasing any furniture we have to take the good quality, because हम बोलते हैं furniture वाले को कि we want a water repellent, we want a water resistance, we want a waterproof. So according to that is cost get vary, right? So pycnocyclic wood, these are the commercial available. An example for the pycno, pinus. Whatever the information which is related to pinus, you have to remember this, because जितने भी क्वेश्चन डिजाइन होंगे मैक्सिमम दोस क्वेश्चन इट इज रिलेटेड टू पाइनस. सो दैट्स व्हाई पाइनस के ऊपर ज्यादा फोकस करना है इन केस ऑफ जिम्नोस्पर्मी कैटेगरी. ठीक है, चलो हो गया ये पार्ट. ओके चलो. नाउ नंबर नेक्स्ट पॉइंट कितना नंबर हो गया ये 9. ओके चलो लास्ट पॉइंट नंबर 10. Last point number 10, we are talking about life cycle. In case of the gymnosperm, basically they are showing diplontic life cycle. Which life cycle is present? Diplontic life cycle. We discuss at the end what is the meaning of diplontic, but here we are talking about they form a diplontic life cycle. Okay. Now another condition, they are showing a sporic meiosis. You know very well, sporic meiosis is a very much common which is present in case of bryo, pterido, gymno as well as the angio. तो सभी में present होगा. B for bryo, P for pterido, G for gymno, A for angio. In all condition, sporic meiosis are present. Diplontic life cycle, if you want, you can write down. Such condition, it is very much common in case of the gymnosperm as well as angiospermic plants. Also, they are showing diplontic life cycle, and as well as brown algae. ये हम लास्ट में देखने वाले थे actually, but you can write down here also. As well as the brown algae also showing the diplontic life cycle. Remember, when we talk about the algae showing haplontic life cycle clearly, but is this in question specifically mentioned? Specifically, okay, if specifically mentioned what condition present, what kind of the life cycle present in brown algae, so your answer will be diplontic life cycle, because diplontic life cycle is present in gymnosperm, it is present in angiosperm, as well as it is present in brown algae. Got it? Got it? Chalo. And the next point, yeah. Okay, Chirag, Eva. Chalo. And next point, we are talking about free living existence of gametophytic absent. Last point. Free living existence. Free living existence of gametophytic body. Of gametophyte, and you know very well gametophyte means we are talking about which condition? Haploid condition, right? So free living existence of gametophytic body, they are totally absent. Got it? Yes. So these are the three important points with respect to life cycle of the gymnosperm. So any doubt from the common characteristic? Because बहुत कुछ हमने यहाँ पे देखा, because gymnospermic, these are the what we say, these are the very large plant, right? Height wise or quite complex, right? So that's why the what we say, that is common characteristic or the common features also they are more as compared to algae, bryo and the pterido. ठीक है चलो हो गया ये पार्ट. हाँ हाँ okay chalo. Now last point of this chapter, we are not last, second last, that is life cycle of pinus. Because हमने पहले ही कहा था whatever the questions are coming, all those maximum question they are related to pinus life cycle. So start new point. Detail, in detail we are talking about life cycle in case of pinus. You know very well, Pinus basically it is example of the gymnospermic plant which is grow at the temperate zone. So we are talking about few information. First of all, basically Pinus it is example of. Sorry. So basically, whenever we are talking about the Pinus it is example of coniferous gymnosperm. Conifer. They are coniferous gymnosperm. What is meaning of the coniferous gymnosperm is something a cone like habit. जैसे हम कहते हैं ना कि in case of the Christmas plant how they are looking. So it is a coniferous. So it is a belonging to coniferous gymnosperm. As well as we are talking about, they are showing X current habit. Hmm? X current habit of stem. And just we discuss X current nothing but that is lower branches longer, upper branches short. That's why they gives rise to cone like appearance, and such type of this cone like appearance these are called as the X current type of the habit. X current. So X current habit of this stem present in case of the pinus plant. Okay. Now next point we are talking about with respect to cone. Cone basically they are monoecious. Monoecious means what? What is meaning of the monoecious? Both cone means male and the female cone they present on the same plant. In case of the monoecious, pinus it is example of the monoecious plant, right? And here we are talking about there is a presence of the cone. Cone basically they are monoecious means both male cone and the female cone they present on the same plant. So in case of the cone category, first of all we are talking about male cone, and you know very well male cone also called as microsporophyll. Microsporophyll. Another one on the same plant there is a presence of the female cone, and female cone also called as megasporophyll. Megasporophyll. So microsporophyll male cone, megasporophyll female cone, right? So quickly we are talking about few differences between the cone in case of the male cone as well as the female cone. ज़्यादा नहीं देख रहे, we are talking about just 2 to 3 differences, that's it, which is important. First of all we are talking about male cone. Male cone, first point, basically they are small size, and when you compare this point with the female cone basically they are large in size. So first point with respect to their size, male and the female they are small and the large in size. Now when we are talking about pinus male cone, pinus male cone they form first. Normally what happen, you know very well, whenever we are talking about the developmental stages, sometime before the fertilization, male part and the female part, for example egg and the male gamete they mature at the same time. जैसे mature होंगे they perform a fertilization, but sometime what happen, पहले female form होती है, male form later, or sometime male first form and after few days female get form. So there is some kind of the variation ऐसे होता है. Not necessary that male and the female sex organ they develop at the same time. It's not necessary. Same time भी हो सकते हैं और time get vary. Might be possible male form first, female form later, or maybe in third condition female form first, male form later. So it depends. Because whatever we are talking about the maturity, development or the maturity of sex organ, it depends. Plant to plant it is get vary. So it is not any thumb rule कि at a time में ही होना चाहिए. It's not necessary. Similarly, when you compare this point with the pinus, in case of the pinus, male gamete or what we say that is pollen grain or what we say that is male cone they form first, they mature first. So we are talking about male cone basically they form first. During the early stage they formed early, and whenever we are talking about the female they formed at the later stage. तो पहले कौन form होगा? During the early stage male get form and the female they form later. Variation in developmental time is get vary, right? Now next point, whenever we are talking about that is male cone they produce high number of pollen grain, high number of the pollen grain production. इसको हम आगे देखेंगे what is meaning of pollen grain. So there is a high number of the pollen grain production. But when you are talking about the female they produce limited egg number production. Limited egg number production. So male pollen grain they produce in high amount, they produce in multiple amount, बहुत सारे होंगे. I'll show the diagram later. But whenever we are talking about the female cone, definitely that female cone they can produce only a limit present in limited number. ठीक है, चलो हो गया. चलो कंटिन्यू करें. चलो. So these are the exactly basic difference between the male cone and the female cone. Next point. Next point we are talking about structure of pollen grain. It's very important according to NEET point of view because favorite part in NEET ka. And we quickly will discuss about how that egg get developed. So this differentiation part is over. Next point I'm talking about some basic important information with respect to NEET point of view. So I'm writing the title NEET IMP question. Question news. Okay. So first of all, we are talking about what happened with respect to female cone. So first of all, हम female को complete कर लेते because female it's very short part. Quickly we can finish this part. Okay. So we are talking about the first one, that is with respect to female. Now what happened whenever we are talking about the female? Normally what happened? I'll tell you one thing. एक flowchart ले रहे, right? And after the end, I'll show the structure. So now here we are talking about in case of the female cone. So there is a presence of the ovule. I'll show you the diagram. We'll draw the diagram. Ovule is present, right? Now inside the ovule, please draw a flowchart information at one side and another side half जो portion होगा वहां पे हम diagram draw करेंगे. ठीक है. So थोड़ा सा adjust कर लो और whatever the information it is at the one side and the half page we draw the diagram because हमें diagram को circle draw करना है. We draw one circle because we have to represent the ovule. So ovule is present. Inside the ovule यहाँ पे present होगा megaspore mother cell because we are talking about the female. Megaspore mother cell. If you want to write down the ploidy, you can write down ovule. Basically, they are diploid in nature. Megaspore mother cell also they are diploid in nature. This megaspore mother cell further it is undergo the process of the meiosis, and you know very well this meiosis process simply these are called as the sporic meiosis. Okay? After the sporic meiosis, now there is a formation of the megaspore, and megaspore basically they are haploid in nature. Got it? There is a formation of the megaspore. This megaspore, different name. Okay, this megaspore also called as female gametophyte. This female, these are also called as the female gametophyte. And you know very well, whenever we are talking about the female gametophyte, again the ploidy level, again these are the haploid in nature, right? Inside this megaspore or inside this gametophyte, female gametophyte, there is a presence of egg cell, as well as there is a presence of venter canal cell, VCC. VCC, venter canal cell. So there is a presence of the two different types of the cell. Number one, egg, and the another one that is VCC cell. So both are present. Egg ploidy level also haploid. VCC cell also, these are the haploid. Right? So quickly I'm revising this part. Just read carefully. We are talking about the female cone, right? Female cone, that is megasporophyll. Inside the megasporophyll present होगा ovule. Ovule, right? Because हमने discuss किया था in case of the gymnosperm ovary absent, right? But ovule present होगा. This ovule diploid in nature. Inside the ovule megaspore mother cell is present. हम देखो अब तक हम use करते थे spore mother cell, but now we are talking about mega, because in case of the gymnosperm male cone different होगा, female cone different होगा. So that's why we have to specifically use microspore mother cell for the male, megaspore mother cell for the female. So ovule present. Inside the ovule megaspore, mega लड़की का नाम है, मेगा मेगा याद रखना थोड़ा, मेगा. So mega girl name. So these are the part of the female body. So megaspore mother cell ploidy level again diploid. Megaspore mother cell undergo the sporic meiosis, and after this sporic meiosis they produce a meiospore. हम यहाँ पे meiosis नहीं कर रहे, we are using the word megaspore because megaspore mother cell undergo the reductional division and they produce the megaspore. So megaspore basically they are haploid in nature. Megaspore also called as female gametophyte. Okay, female gametophyte, and these inside this female gametophyte, or when we say the word female gametophyte, it is consist of one egg cell and the one VCC cell, right? You know, egg further they can fuse with the male gamete and they produce this zygote, while that VCC cell, venter canal cell, basically they help in protection. They protect the egg cell before fertilization. They involve during the protection. Okay, so these are some information with respect to female cone. Any doubt from this flow chart? Should I start with diagram, because हमें draw करना पड़ेगा what is the ovule, how they get protected, female gametophyte क्या है, egg where is present. So we have to draw that structure. चलो. So इसी diagram, whatever the information is given, we are writing all this information near. We draw the diagram near this information. ठीक है? चलो. So quickly draw one circle because हमें ovule draw करना है. ये जो end होगा, this one where the mouth is open, means if you see it's not attached, so that end basically it is called as the micropyle end. These are the part of 12th standard, but quickly थोड़ा सा हम यहाँ पे revise कर रहे हैं. These are micropyle end, exactly opposite to micropyle end. This is called lysal end. चला हमने यहाँ पे ड्रॉ किया है one layer, this one white color. So this layer nothing but these are called as the integument layer. Integument. And if I'm talking about only single layer is present, single into, that's why these are called as the unitegmic condition. Uni that is single, tegmic that is integument. These are called as the unitegmic condition. ठीक है, पहले डायग्राम ड्रॉ करो, I'll explain entire thing. चलो अभी निकालते हैं गैमेटोफाइटिक बॉडी. ये जो स्ट्रक्चर है, दिस वन, these are called as the female gametophyte. Ploidy level haploid होगा. Now a green color and one blue color. इसको नाम पे दे देते. This blue color basically it is called as the VCC cell. VCC. Single integuments. This one, single integument. Single integument means unitegmic condition. मतलब single layer present. I'll discuss that part later. What is meaning of the integument? Integument is the one protective layer who cover the ovule. क्या बात, हाँ, VCC, blue color which is represented, that is a single VCC cell, and the function of ठीक है. Now green color, ये जो bottom में यहाँ पे draw किया है, this one, these are the called as the egg cell, single egg cell, and again ploidy level they are haploid in nature because it's a part of female gametophytic body. Okay, that's it. So just draw this structure. Once you're done, please tell me. Diagram का नाम दे रहे, figure name और diagram name. Erect ovule or orthotropous ovule. Erect ovule or orthotropous ovule. Also this ovule also called as the primitive ovule. And such type of this ovule simply we are talking about which is present in case of the gymnosperm. Chalo, quickly finish this diagram, then we continue the further part. Okay, okay. We wait for some time. Baki. Okay, Sandra. Chirag, वही बोल रहे हैं. First of all, you finish the diagram. I explain entire one, each and every one. Don't worry. Done? ठीक है, चल. So one by one, we are talking about what is meaning of ovule, what is meaning of integument, what is meaning of VCC, egg, and how that successful fertilization process can be occurred. तो पहले हम बात करते हैं from the outer to inner. Okay, so we go from the outer. Normally what happen, actually these are the part of the angiosperm. हम morphology chapter में भी इसको discuss करेंगे. Whenever we are talking about a flower, inside the flower sepals are present, petals are present, androecium, that is what we say, stamen as well as the carpel present. When we are talking about the carpel is consist of the three parts: stigma, style, and the ovary. Right, ovary. Ovary, it is a characteristic feature which is present in flowering plant, which is present in angiosperm. But when you compare this point with gymnosperm, ovary absent hoti hai, right? So in this point, in this gymnospermic condition, ovule present hoga. Ovule is present. But now what happened? Ovule, this ovule basically it is a very straight, very simple. Why we are talking about these are the erect ovule? Because if you see one end of the ovule, that is micropylar end, ऊपर दिया है देखो, these are the end which is give the above, that is a micropylar end, right? And exactly opposite side chalizial end is present. So two ends, each and every ovule it is having the two end, one end that is micropylar end, another end that is chalizial end. So if you see the position of the that two ends, they are exactly aligned at a straight line, पूरे के पूरे straight line में align है. Micropylar end as well as the chalizial end, they are aligned at this straight line, exactly यहाँ पे present and exactly below chalizial end is present, right? So that's why such type of ovule, they are called as the erect ovule. Erect ovule also called as the orthotropous ovule because arrangement straight hai, right? They are showing the straight arrangement because micropylar end and the chalizial end, they are present at the straight line. And such type of this ovule also called as a primitive ovule. Primitive क्यों है? Because ovule it is absent in algae, it is absent in bryophyta, even it is absent in pteridophyta. First time, first time ovule developed from gymnosperm. That's why gymnospermic ovule, they are called as the primitive ovule because whatever we are talking about the arrangement is very very simple. कोई rocket science नहीं है, rocket science. Micropylar end and the chalizial end, they are the two end of the ovule, they align at the straight line. That's why it is called as the erect ovule. Got it? अभी बस इतना समझ लो, माइक्रोपाइल एंड द चलाइजल, these are the two ends. जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, north and the south, east, west, so we can decide a pole, we can decide the direction. Similarly, when you read any ovule structure, so now there is a two ends are there, one end that is micropylar end, another one that is chalizial end. So we'll discuss that part in 12th standard in detail. ठीक है? तो ये समझ में आ गया, माइक्रोपाइल एंड एंड द चलाइजल एंड, व्हाई वी से सच टाइप ऑफ दिस ओवल, दीस आर कॉल्ड एज इरेक्ट, ऑर्थोट्रोपस और प्रिमिटिव. समझ लो का? ओके, चलो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ द इंटीग्यूमेंट. सिंगल इंटीग्यूमेंट इज प्रेजेंट एंड दैट्स व्हाट इज कॉल्ड एज द यूनिटेग्मिक कंडीशन. चलो, so whenever you are using the word unitegmic, uni means what? Single, right? Another word that is tegmic. Unitegmics means what? That is ovule covered with, protected with, ovule covered with, protected with only single integument layer. Only single integument layer. That's why it is called as the unitegmic. Uni means single, tegmic means integument. तो ovule है, definitely ovule they should require a protection because ovule के अंदर हमारा egg present होगा and egg also required extra protection. So around the ovule, as the protection purpose, there is a one layer is present. That layer it is called as the integument layer. And how many integuments are present? Only single integument present in case of the gymnospermic ovule. When you compare this point with angiosperm, angiosperm में दो tegmic layer present होते, bitegmic, because two integuments layer present in angiosperm ovule. But here we are talking about gymnosperm. So gymnospermic ovule covered with a single layer. That's why these are called as the unitegmic. Ovule covered, ovule protected with single integument layer. Got it? Yes or no? Okay, Chirag, Vasundhara, Eva. ठीक है समृद्धि, चलो या. So should I continue next point? तो हमने दो words देखे. One we discuss about the erect, what is meaning of the erect ovule, and we discuss what is the meaning of this unitegmic condition. ठीक है? Now what happen if you see the structure inside the ovule? Inside the ovule, there is a presence of the egg cell, means these are the complete, there is a presence of the female gametophyte, right? And female gametophyte, inside the female gametophyte, there is a presence of the egg cell, single egg cell is present, as well as there is a presence of the single VCC cell. VCC cell, venter canal cell, these are the one kind of the protective cell. And rest of portion, जितना भी rest of portion है, this one is present at the surrounding area. कहाँ पे लिखे? हाँ, Rest of portion, this portion, these are called as the cells of nucellus. These are called as the which cell? That is nucellus cell. And ploidy level of the nucellus, they are diploid in nature. Nucellus. Okay, nucellus. Nucellus cells, they are diploid in nature. What is meaning of the nucellus? Inside the ovule, दो part present होंगे. One part is female gametophyte, another part that is nucellus. Female gametophyte, basically they are haploid in nature, while nucellus, they are diploid in nature. So what is meaning of the nucellus? Nucellus, basically they are so we are talking about that is nucellus. Nucellus, basically they are diploid cell which is present inside ovule. Nucellus. Nucellus cell, they are diploid in nature which is present inside the ovule. So what is the function of the nucellus? We'll discuss part that later, not now, but just remember, and this point please add in diagram. Female gametophyte different hoga. Female gametophyte means we are talking about there is a presence of the egg cell as well as there is a presence of the VCC cell. But except that area, we have to draw whatever the surrounding area, jitna bhi surrounding area hai, that surrounding area, these are called as the nucellus, which is ploidy level, diploid in nature. Got it? Done? Hmm. Okay, chalo. Now we are talking about next information with male cone. So these are the all information with female. Next point we are talking about male cone. Number second. Write down. Number two, male cone. And that male cone also called as the microsporophyll. Done? Should I continue? Mm-hmm. चलो कंटिन्यू करें डार्विन बैच. Should I continue, beta? Okay, Aisha. Chalo. So we are talking about that is male cone. Male cone also called as the microsporophyll. Now what happened? Inside the microsporophyll, there is a presence of microspore mother cell. Microspore mother cell. Microspore mother cell, definitely they are diploid in nature. Microspore mother cell, further they undergo the process of sporic meiosis. Sporic meiosis, because you know very well, in case of bryo, pteridophyta, gymnosperm, as well as the angiosperm, sporic meiosis is present. So microspore mother cell, they undergo the process of the sporic meiosis. After the sporic meiosis, now they produce microspore. And microspore also called as pollen grain. And ploidy level of the pollen grain, they are haploid in nature. So male cone also called as the microsporophyll. Inside the microsporophyll, microspore mother cells are present. Microspore mother cell undergo the sporic meiosis. After this sporic meiosis, there is a production of the microspore, and microspore also called as the pollen grain. आपको नाम तो पता होगा pollen grain? Yes, because in case of the angiosperm also these are the present. Now we are talking about few important questions, very important PIMP questions on pollen grain. First point, whenever we are talking about that is spinous pollen grain specifically, okay, because we are talking about that is spinous life cycle. So in case of this spinous pollen grain, first of all we are talking about the color. Basically they are yellow in color. Color of the pollen grain, they are yellow in color. Another one, that pollen grain, it has two walled structure. Two walled structure around pollen grain. Two walled structure around pollen grain. And third one, such type of this pollen grain, they are called as the winged pollen grain. Winged pollen grain. And we discussed this part, winged pollen grain, because of extension of outer layer. Due to extension of that outer layer, it is called as the exine layer. Due to extension of the exine layer. So we'll discuss this part quickly. What is meaning of the exine layer? What is meaning of that winged pollen grain, etc. etc. Quickly हम यहाँ पे और एक point mention कर देते. Now we are talking about pollination, that is release of dispersion of the pollen grain. So pollination with the help of wind. Pollination with the help of the wind. Please underline the word wind. Such type of this pollination, these are called as anemophily. Such type of this pollination with the help of the wind, such process, it is called as the anemophily. And anemophily, it's a very much common process which is occurred in case of the gymnospermic category. That is pollen grain, they simply release, they simply disperse with the help of the wind, with the help of the air. So please write down this 4 important point. If this part is done, then tell me. Then I'll take this some diagrammatic representation. So we get the clear-cut idea. What is meaning of the wing pollen grain? What is the meaning of it? Had the two-walled structure, yellow color, etc., etc. Just check the chat box first of all. These are the example for a plant. For example, in case of the pinus plant, ये tip का region है. Strobilus present, that is microsporophyll on the top. And now what happened? Microsporophyll, they simply release the pollen grains. और pollen grain का color कैसा है? They are having the yellow in color, right? They form the yellow in color. ठीक है? Okay, done. So had you understood how what we are talking about? And just we discuss pollen grain which is produced in case of the female cone. Sorry, in case of the male cone. So male cone produce the pollen grain. That pollen grain, it is production, it's very high amount. Bulk में transport होता है, bulk में, right? And now what happened? All these pollen grain, they are lightweighted. That's why with the help of wind, that pollen grain, they can easily disperse from one place to another place. So there is no requirement of the agent like honeybees, birds, bat, human, or water, right? Because simply wind through pollination, that is dispersion of the pollen grain, can be occur. Chalo. Should I start with the diagrammatic representation? How the pollen grain it is look in case of pinus?
Ma'am, what is after wall structure?
Okay. Yeah, chalo. So quickly, we'll draw the first of all structure. So pollen grain in case of the pinus, winged pollen grain. Why we say that is winged? So we are talking about a typical structure, right? Typical diagrammatic representation for pinus pollen grain. Pinus pollen grain basically it is having the two wall structure, outer and the inner. So quickly I'm talking about ये जो layer है इसको color change करें क्या? हाँ रुको. I'll change the color. So so these are the outermost layer. This one. These are layer. It is called as exine layer. Exine. Exine layer means what? Outer layer, or simply we are say that is outer wall. Pollen grain it has the two wall, outer and the inner. So whatever we are talking about, these are the outer one. और ये जो center में present है, these are called as the intine layer. And whenever we are talking about the intine, it means that we are talking about inner wall. Okay, so outer wall called as the exine, inner wall it is called as the intine. ठीक है. Now what we say here, हमने यहाँ पे एक word लिखा हुआ है winged pollen grain, wings, right? Pollen grain it is having the wings. Why it is having the wings? Because due to extension of the exine layer, due to extension of the outer layer. So if you see यहाँ पे कुछ देखो, ये जो structure दिखाई दे रहा है this one, यहाँ पे it is a look like a wings, right? So now what happens, whenever we are talking about the exine, this exine layer is simply showing the extension. They get extend, they showing extension toward the outer side, and due to their extension simply they are look like a wing, look like a wings, right? So that's why in case of the pinus pollen grain, winged pollen grain, these are the very, very specific and the unique characteristic feature. See, winged pollen grain we are not using for the all gymnospermic pollen grain. Specifically, we are using for the pinus pollen grain because pinus pinus pollen grain it has the two wall, outer inner. और जो outer wall होगा, that outer wall it is called as the exine. Exine they are showing extension toward the outer side, and due to that extension it is looked like a wings, right? That's why pinus pollen grain, simply we can say these are the winged pollen grain due to extension of outer layer, due to extension of exine layer, right? Got it Baba? ठीक है, sure. one one question fix है इसके ऊपर, तो winged pollen grain only we are using for pinus pollen grain, बाकी कहीं पे भी हम यूज नहीं करते. ठीक है चलो. Now next point we are talking about inside the pollen grain. सेंटर में बात कर रहे हैं, थोड़ा झूम कर रहे हैं इसको, so you will get the clear cut idea. Now we are talking about what happened here. We are talking about the particular kind of the cells, right? This it consists of the total 4 cells. So just draw a structure like this. One, two, three, four. First of all, draw this central structure. 4 cell draw करने हमें. 2 small, 2 long. Draw as it is structures at the center. Once you're done, please tell me. Then we'll give the name for this structure. It's a part of pollen grain, but inside the pollen grain, 4-cell structure is present. Done. चलो. So quickly we remove this part outside. इसको हम बाहर लेके आ रहे हैं. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, because I want to give the name. So quickly we are giving the name. Here we are talking about these are the two cells, two small size cell which is present at the upper. These two cells basically it is called as the prothelial cell. Prothelial cell. Prothelial cell. Prothelial cell basically these are the one kind of the supportive cell. They are one kind of the supportive cell. Okay, just supportive prothelial cell. Now below the prothelial cell, यहाँ पे जो present होगा this one. This cell called as the tube cell. Single tube cell is present. Tube cell. And this tube cell later they form pollen tube. During the later condition, what they form? At the later stage, they form a pollen tube. Tube cell below exactly two prothelial cells, single tube cell, they form pollen tube. Okay, now, and the bottom one, ये जो last वाला cell है, this one, towards this bottom, this cell it is called as the generative cells. T for the tube, T for the pollen tube. Okay, now we are talking about G for the generative cell, and these generative cells further form gamete. And more specifically, we are talking about they form male gametes. So how you remember? Simply remember G for the generative cell, G for the gametes. Okay. So quickly I'm repeating this part. Listen carefully. We are talking about the typical kind of the structure with respect to pollen grain. Clearly हमने यहाँ पे mention किया pinus pollen grain they having the two wall, but outer wall they are showing the extension, and due to their extension simply we are talking about that they appear a structure like wings like structure wings. Now whenever we are talking about that pollen grain, definitely that pollen grain they are having ploidy level, that is haploid, because after meiosis they form. So ploidy level क्या होगा? Haploid होगा. Whatever we are talking about the prothelial cell, ploidy level haploid होगा. Even tube cell they are having haploid in nature. Even generative cell all they are haploid in nature, because all these are the part of the pollen grain. So entire structure of the pollen grain they are haploid in nature because they form after meiosis. बट हम यहाँ पे एक स्पेसिफिक कंडीशन देख रहे हैं. व्हाट कंडीशन? इनसाइड द पोलन ग्रेन बेसिकली 4-celled condition is present. 4-celled together, all these we can say these are the present of the 4-celled structure. Why we are using the word 4? Because यहाँ पे presented 2 prothelial cell, 1 tube cell and another one generative cell, right? 2 prothelial cell, 1 tube cell and the 1 generative cell. So collectively this structure simply we can say these are the 4-celled structure. Total 4 cell inside pollen grain, total 4 cells are present. 2 prothelial cell which is act as a supportive who provide the nutrition for the development of the male gamete. Now there is a presence of 1 tube cell. Tube cell further they form a pollen tube. And now in this condition we are talking about that is male gamete. Who form the male gamete? Generative cell. So further generative cell they form a male gamete. So अगर यहाँ पे हमने देखा inside the single pollen grain, all pollen grain these are the haploid structure, no doubt, but we can specifically we can say they are 4-cell structure because 4 cells are present. 2 prothelial cell, 1 tube cell, and the another one generative cell. Got it? Got it? Okay. Chalo. Now we are talking about next point. Now what happened? Just we discuss pollen grain. Basically, they are very lightweight, right? And pollination happen means release of that pollen grain or the dispersion of the pollen grain with the help of the wind. Now what happened? Just we discuss in case of the male cone they form first, right? So that's why pollen release during the early stage. So on the basis of that we are talking one concept, what is meaning of the sulfur shower. So now what happened when pollen grain release, when pollen grain release, and you know very well the color of that pollen grain, basically these are the yellow in color. So now what happened when there is a release of the pollen grain, that time it's look like they formed a yellow color cloud, yellow cloud, right? And such yellow cloud also called as sulfur shower. These are also called as the yellow color cloud, or simply it is called as the sulfur shower. So I quickly show you one image. कैसा दिखाई देगा if you see the top one view, how it is look. Sulfur shower. ये कब दिखाई देगा? When in case of the pinus, because in case of the pinus, color of that pollen grain, these are yellow in color. And when they get released, at a time they release होंगे because male cone maturation at the same time, right? So now what happened when they get released? Now if you see the upper view, ऐसे लगेगा जैसे yellow color के cloud accumulate हुए, because pollen grain production it is very high amount, because gymnospermic plant large, it is a higher plant, right? Means it is a vascular plant having the good height. So that's why now what happened when we see the view, means long view, that time we can understand one thing. It's look like a yellow color cloud, and this yellow color cloud, simply these are called as the sulfur shower. Quickly see the image, means हमने इसको long view देखा है exactly कैसे होगा, because pollen grain they form first, फिर form होगा, पहले pollen grain form होगा, and at a time during the maturity the pollen grain release into environment, because wind through pollination, right? Because it's a very lightweight, it is having the wing like structure, so with the help of the wind, pollen grain they can easily disperse. ठीक है? So it is look like this. That's why we are talking about when pollen grain release, that time they form a yellow cloud, and such a yellow cloud also called as the sulfur shower. And the next point, if you want, you can write down such pollen grain, such pollen grain dispersion, such pollen grain dispersion by wind, with the help of the wind. And you know very well, if wind is involved, such type of this step, these are called as the anemophily. Such type of this pollination, simply these are called as the anemophily pollination. That is wind through pollination. Obviously, lightweight hoga to wind, ultimately wind is get involved. That's why purposefully in case of the pinus pollen grain, they are very lightweight, because wind current through, they can easily showing dispersion. Got it? Chalo. Yeah. Done this part. It's very important, okay? जितना भी इंफॉर्मेशन पाइनस के रिलेटेड है, यू हैव टू रीड इट वेरी वेरी केयरफुली, बिकॉज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है नीट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. ओके, ठीक है. नाउ टेल मी एनी डाउट फ्रॉम टुडेस क्लास. ऑलमोस्ट वी क्रॉस टाइम. एनी डाउट फ्रॉम टुडेस क्लास? ओके, ठीक है. चलो, हाँ हाँ. सो प्लीज रीड इट अगेन एंड अगेन, राइट? थोड़ा सा पार्ट बचा हुआ है. दिस पार्ट विल फिनिश इन नेक्स्ट क्लास, and we start the new chapter, cell cycle, cell division, after this chapter. Okay, chalo. Yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye.